So last year we got from Fragrance World Francique 63.55. This was their take on Gris Charnel's EDP, or BDK's Gris Charnel EDP. And this was a fragrance that, you know, I loved then and I still love now. This is a very nice sort of, you know, cardamom, fig, black tea fragrance. It almost kind of has like this sort of coconut sort of feel, you know, in the dry down as well that you get with this. This version, the EDP, is very sort of unisex. I guess you could say it is maybe slightly feminine leaning, but at least for me anyway, it's very unisex. Now you have the extrait of Gris Charnel, and that one to me is definitely the more sort of masculine leaning version of Gris Charnel. So at least to my knowledge, I mean, I haven't smelled Liam Gray from Lattafa. I think I've seen some people say that one is, you know, a little bit more closer to, you know, the extrait. I haven't smelled that one again, but what I do have here and what we're going to be going over today is from Watanaiah, and this is Massad. All right, so you get a very nice looking presentation here with Massad. You get the name of the fragrance here on the front. This is an Eau de Parfum concentration, 100 ml bottle. And it's just a really nice looking blue box here. You don't really get anything on either side. You do kind of get the same sort of design that you get on the front of the box here on the back. And then on the bottom, you've got like the barcode and like the batch date and stuff like that. And then on the top, you kind of get the Watanaiah logo, and it kind of splits like this. All right, and it's kind of stuck together with like a magnet inside of there, so that's pretty cool. And then this opens up like that, and here is the bottle. So again, really nice presentation on this. It is pretty big and bulky, but you know, in my opinion, I do like it. And then as you can see here, you've got Watanaiah written on the top of the cap here. I really do like the way that they did that. You've got the Massad written here, as well as this sort of, you know, Arabic writing, I believe is what that is. I don't know exactly what that says. It may say Massad or something like that in Arabic. And then you kind of have like this little tassel here. You know, if you've watched the channel for a while, you know how much these tassels really irritate me. This one, at least the way that it's done on this bottle, doesn't irritate me that much. So I will say that. The sort of circle here does say Watanaiah. And then on the bottom, you've got Watanaiah kind of like engraved onto the actual glass there, as well as a sticker. All right. And then for the sprayer, it is a, you know, pressurized sprayer. So you get a nice little touch with that. So overall, man, I do think the presentation on this is very nice. It does look kind of premium. Doesn't look like a super cheap sort of fragrance. So I do like that about the fragrance. And in terms of the notes of this fragrance, so there are some differences in the notes, but you know, of the two fragrances. So for the Gris Charnel Extrait, all right, that is going to have top notes of cardamom, fig, and black tea, mid notes of iris, bourbon vetiver, and cistus incanis. And then in the base, you have sandalwood, Madagascar vanilla, tonka bean, cedar, and Indonesian patchouli leaf. Now, the notes in this are not really that different. In the top notes, you have bergamot, nutmeg, and cardamom. In the mid, you have iris, cedarwood, and patchouli. And then in the base, you have vetiver, tonka bean, and vanilla. So for the most part, the same notes, but just slightly kind of different. And I mean, what I can say, you know, between the Massad and the Gris Charnel Extrait, are the Gris Charnel Extrait, to me, does come off slightly more aggressive and stronger than what Massad does, especially when it comes to like the cardamom and the black tea. Those seem to be the main things, at least to my nose, that, you know, really seem to be a little bit stronger, more kind of in your face and aggressive, you know, in the Gris Charnel Extrait, as opposed to the Massad. Also, obviously, with Massad being eau de parfum and the Gris Charnel being an extrait, you are going to get a more sort of concentrated, you know, more stronger sort of smell just in general from the Gris Charnel. But yeah, the cardamom in the Gris Charnel Extrait definitely comes off as a lot more kind of like, to me, like freshly ground and just really earthy smelling. Whereas in Massad, it's definitely a little bit more subtle and not as punchy as what it is in the Gris Charnel Extrait. Now, for some may actually like that. You know, I know, at least for me, like the first version of Gris Charnel that I smelled was the EDP, and I did really like that a lot. And then when I smelled the extrait, that really sort of strong cardamom, you know, that you get from the extrait, that did kind of throw me off a little bit, because it's very much in your face and very aggressive in the extrait. Smells really concentrated, like I said, really sort of strong, aggressive, really kind of like freshly ground. Whereas, at least, you know, what I'm getting from Massad, this more so kind of smells like, up top anyway, you're getting a little bit more bergamot in this. That's, you know, kind of making it smell slightly more fresher and not as aggressive. Now, this also doesn't have like the black tea note in it or the fig. I feel like the way that the accords are sort of done in this fragrance, you do kind of get like that black tea sort of feel or that black tea smell from this fragrance. But it's definitely, it's not as prominent as what you're getting in, you know, the Gris Charnel Extrait. So, you know, I would say if you really, really love the opening of, you know, Gris Charnel Extrait, and you really love that, you know, really sort of earthy, green, just really strong dose of cardamom that you get from that fragrance, from the Gris Charnel Extrait, then this may be a bit of a disappointment for you. But if that was your least favorite part of the fragrance, and you know, you kind of enjoy everything else about, you know, Gris Charnel Extrait, then I think, you know, Massad is actually a good choice. When it comes to like the dry down of the two fragrances, I still think that, you know, the Gris Charnel Extrait does seem to be a little bit stronger just overall. It does have more of sort of like a more concentrated type of smell to it. But for the most part, the overall smell in general are very similar between, you know, the Gris Charnel Extrait and this. Now, I do feel like you do get a little bit more of sort of like that kind of coconut sort of feel to the fragrance in Massad than what you do in the Gris Charnel Extrait. You know, you do definitely get a heavy dose of the patchouli, the tonka bean, the sandalwood. You do get the cedar wood. You do get a heavy dose of that, you know, in the dry down of this fragrance. But at least to me anyway, this is heavier on that sort of, you know, almost kind of coconut sort of smell that you get from this. I understand coconut isn't like a note in this fragrance, but the way that the notes are sort of done in both this fragrance as well as the original, and even I would say the EDP and even the Fragrance World Francique 63.55, just the scent profile in general, it does kind of have like this slightly kind of like coconut sort of smell to it. That's the best way for me to sort of describe it in the dry down. And you know, this definitely has a lot of that in the fragrance. But yeah, overall, I would just say it doesn't come off as sharp as what the extrait does. The extrait is definitely more sharper, a little bit more earthier, and to me, I would say a little bit more sort of masculine and aggressive for sure. So, I mean, does this come off as more masculine and aggressive than what 63.55 from Fragrance World does? Francique 63.55? Absolutely, Massad does. But when comparing Massad to Gris Charnel Extrait, this does not come off as, you know, masculine and aggressive as what the Gris Charnel Extrait does. So really, I think it just all kind of depends on, you know, what you're looking for in terms of like a good, you know, inspiration of Gris Charnel Extrait. So, you know, again, if you're looking for like that really earthy green, you know, super aggressive cardamom and black tea, then I would say, you know, probably you want to go for the original Gris Charnel Extrait. But, you know, if that part of it really doesn't matter that much to you and you just kind of want to get your hands on the scent profile without spending, you know, $150 to $200 or so, then absolutely I would say go with Massad. This does perform very well as well. So in terms of the projection again is not going to be as good as what it is in the Gris Charnel. It's going to be maybe just about 10 to 15% dialed back from what, you know, Gris Charnel Extrait is. So I mean, not really a significant difference, but it is enough to be noticeable. And then in terms of like the overall longevity, I do get at least about what, 8 to 10 hours or so on skin. And I mean, I get days on clothes for sure. Like I sprayed this on like a hoodie the first day that I was, you know, kind of testing it out. And I mean, I picked that hoodie up like 2 days later and could still smell it, you know, just like I had just sprayed it on almost. So this will definitely last a really long time if you spray it on your clothes. And like I said, on skin, I was getting at least about 8 to 10 hours or so the few times that I wore this. So performance is still very good on this one, man. And then if I'm going to give this fragrance just like an overall rating, the overall rating on this, or I'm sorry, the overall closeness rating, this would be for me like a 80 to 85% close rating to Gris Charnel Extrait. So, you know, it is, you know, up there in terms of closeness. It does smell, you know, pretty high quality as well. It's just not going to be like a 1-to-1 or like 95 to 100% close to the Gris Charnel Extrait, but it does come, you know, respectfully close, definitely. And then as far as my overall rating on this fragrance, this is easily like a solid 8 out of 10 for sure. I would say I do enjoy this just as much as what I do the Francique 63.55. Can I really say that I enjoy one over the other? I guess maybe you could say that I enjoy Massad over the Francique 63.55, just in terms of the projection. This does project you know, more than what the Francique 63.55 does. Again, just not as much as what the original Gris Charnel does. All right, so I do like that about this fragrance. Definitely let me know in the comments, man, what you all think about Massad, if you all have smelled this. And also, you know, if you have smelled this, how close do you think that this actually comes to the original fragrance. Like I said, this does come about 80 to 85% close, which I think for the price of this fragrance is pretty good. I got this one from fragrancebuy.ca, I believe, for, I don't know, like maybe $30 to $35. Whatever it was, I know it wasn't more than like $40, I don't believe it was. So, I mean, really good price on this. Again, this is a 100 ml bottle. And I mean, if you're a lover of the Gris Charnel, you know, sort of scent profile, whether it's the extrait or the EDP, I think either way, you know, really both of these are great choices. I would just say, you know, if you're looking for a slightly more aggressive and masculine take on it, then you would want to go with Massad. If you're wanting a more kind of unisex, slightly maybe feminine leaning version of it, then, you know, I would say kind of go with the 63.55 from Fragrance World. All right. So that's my take on this fragrance, man. I'll have links in the descriptions. I'll have links in the description to where you can actually purchase Massad, as well as the 63.55, as well as Gris Charnel Extrait, if you're interested in any of those. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.